Greetings, everybody. This is a continuation of the tutorial video for the simulation for Lab 5. Okay, so now you're looking at this graph, and I know some of you, emailed me and called me saying, you don't have the full version of Excel. I know the one you download online. I mean, it's better if you somehow can get access to a computer that has the full version of Excel, so you're able to access everything. I am. That's really the ideal thing. I don't know how much it costs to download. Well, essentially you'll get Office. I don't know what a full version of Office costs. Imagine there's a student discount through Microsoft. But anyway, I mean, well, that is what it is. So have the graph here. Remember, it was quick layout, and then I wanted that one right there. Okay, so again, I don't need this line FN. I delete that. Left click on these horizontal lines, then right click, delete. I don't need those. I'll format. Now remember, we have to format everything. Let me go to the y-axis. I left click with the mouse and see the y-axis is now in that box. Then when I have the arrow, I'm going to right click the mouse. It doesn't matter what order. Let me take the font. We want it to be, again, it's tedious. Excel has these defaults that are not real good, but I want the color to be black, the font to be Times New Roman. You type in TIM, it shows up, then go down, select. Probably 10 or 11 is good for maybe 11. Let's make things so we can read them. Okay, that looks good there for the font. Okay. Yeah, 11. That looks, what if we make the graph a little bigger? Yeah, that's probably good. 10 or 11, I don't really care. I chose 11 just so I can get this finished. Let me do the same for the x-axis. I hit the left mouse button when I'm looking at the arrow, right click, font. I did 11, 10 probably would have been fine, but I'll just be consistent. Color, you want it to be black. See, the defaults for Excel are a little bit weird. They're defaults, but we can override them. Then, highlight here, type in TIM, Times New Roman. What if I click OK if it'll change it? Yep. Yeah, 11's probably a little bit too big. But anyway, okay, now let's go ahead. Let's look at the tick marks. Let me click outside. So I got the font size. I chose 11. Now let me hold the mouse over the y-axis. Left click. It's in the box. Now right click. Now I want to go to Format Axis. Major unit. Yeah, 20 is good because I went to 18. So major or max 20, min 0. Okay, the major unit. I'm going from 0 to 20. I would do, yeah, the major is good. The minor, we don't need 0.4. Let's do 1. Okay, tick marks, remember, inside for both. And feel free to play around. Your settings, depending upon what values you use for K. Your graph, the scale of your graph might be slightly different. So don't be afraid to play around with the major and minor. The idea is you don't want too many tick marks, because then you all probably know what happens. And generally, you want the minor unit to be about 1/2 of the major. So notice there's only one tick mark in between, or maybe, like 1/4. The idea is like that. But basically, you don't want too many tick marks. I mean, so that's all. So I've got that. Looks good. Okay, then here, Excel, we got the line. Remember, here we want black, and that should be good. See, it changed it. That looks good. Let me go down to the same. Again, I'm holding the mouse over the x-axis. I hit the left mouse button. See, I've got the box. When I'm looking at the arrow, right there, left click, format axis. I mean, now 0.35, that's good. Major 0.005, minor. Half of 0.005 is 0.001. 0025. That should work. We can always check. Oh, it didn't put it in. Let me try that again. What happened? Format axis. I think that should be okay. Oh, tick marks. I had not. It won't put tick marks unless you tell it to. My mistake. Okay, see, that looks ridiculous. See what I did there? See all those tick marks? I messed up here. I have one too many zero. It should be 0025, not. It should be 0.0025. I have one extra zero there. It's easier to get careless. But notice if I left it like that, that's clearly ridiculous. No one's going to accept that. All those tick marks, but now me changing it, because half of 5, 005 is 0025. Yeah, see how that changed it? Perfect. Now let me go back in, continue format. Again, it's a little bit tedious, but it is what it is. Here we go. I mean, I sort of enjoy making graphs in Excel. I was probably like most of you at one time. I was like, what's going on? How do you create a graph? But it takes a little bit of work. But okay, everything looks good there. Okay, now let me go ahead and do the axes titles. Remember, the y-axis is the force. So I'm going to make the font 12 because I made the axis labels 11. So 12. I want, again, Times New Roman is the standard scientific font. TIM. Then you have to go down, click it. Perfect. Let's make the color black. I want over here, I think, text options. Click there. Text direction in the second box there. We want horizontal. See that? And that is going to be highlighted. Type in capital F for force, space, parentheses, capital N for newtons. Click. We're done. Let me click down on the x-axis. Again, same. Oops, I moved the box. I don't want to do that. Undo. Yeah, it can be a little bit tiny there. Good. Highlighting. 12. Color black. That should do it. Font. There we go. Recently used, Times New Roman, and that is X, and the units are M for meter. So X space parentheses M. Click outside. Now we got to go ahead and do the trend. We'll do the title at the very end. Let's do the trend line. Let me go ahead before I do the add trend line. I want my original line to be black. It's not a big deal, but technically that's what we should choose. In the past graphs, I haven't really worried about that. So before I do add trend line, I'm going to go down and format data series. And that just allows me to click here, fill in line, and just change the line color. I'm just going to change it to black. And that looks sort of thick. I can maybe go down to 1.25, maybe 1. That looks good, Okay. Now I've got the original line is black. Now let me again I'm holding the mouse over series. Now I right click, add trend line. We know the drill from there. Now here we want to set the intercept to 0. Oh, obviously linear fit, we want to check that. Clearly it's linear. Set the intercept equal to 0, display equation, display R squared. I might as well go here. Remember, I want the trend line to be red. And I want it to be the dash type. It's the not solid first, second, third dash. Oops, I clicked the wrong one. Let me go back. It's E there, right there. I can clearly see my original line, and I can also see my trend line. So when I grade your labs, it doesn't have to be a painstaking process. So that's good. Now remember the equation box. I'm going to click it. I want it to be over here somewhere. I don't want it to be obscured by the line. I'm going to highlight everything in that equation box, and I want the font to be 12. Again, Times New Roman. Oops. Yeah, sometimes okay. 12. Now everything's still highlighted. Times New Roman, I want it to be red to match the color of the trend line. Makes it very easy to grade. Then typically, I'd like to put a space after the Y and then, I mean before and after the equals. Then typically the Y and the X, I italicize them. That's also very standard. Okay. With the R squared, if you want to do the space before and after, I don't really care. Remember, the R squared is a statistical thing. The closer to 1 that your R squared value is, the better your linear fit. 0.998. Hey, that's a good linear fit. Okay. Now, we'll do the title. Now, notice here, I've got my equation box. Now remember the coefficient of x. It's y equals mx plus b, but we set the intercept b to 0. So that 578.56, that's the Excel value for the slope. Now watch what happens to the percent error when I type in, and keep all the digits, don't round. So I'm going to type in 578.56, then click outside, disco. Now we're pretty much done. Now we just need to format the title. And let me pause it for a second. Okay, so I want to do the title. Here, highlight it. I want, again, 14's good. I want the font, again, Times New Roman always. The title we want bold. And I want the color to be black. And I don't need the N there, so I'm going to get rid of the N in parentheses. So I want F, then I want space. I want force versus X. So F versus X. Maybe a colon. Couple spaces, and that's for two springs in parallel. Oop, a little spelling mistake. There. F versus X, and typically with the variables, you don't have to, but I like to italicize them so I understand. And there, we're done. Notice this is a remember, if you do this for all the sheet, that's a perfectly 100%, lab grade. Look at this nice looking graph. Easy for me to grade. You put your name there. All your values are easy to. And remember, don't change the original template. Just fill it in the way I did in the video. And there we go. So now do the same thing for sheet 2. Now the only thing for sheet 2, again, it's two springs in parallel, but I want you to use substantially larger K values, and I don't want them to be the same. Here, I chose 290 and 290. For example, for sheet 2, you might want to choose, I don't have to be that much, but I don't want them to be close at all. So maybe choose something like, 300 and maybe 470. I don't, for sheet 2, you don't want the K values to be, you don't want them to be close at all. So they want to be about 150 to 200 apart. I don't know why that font is not Times New Roman. It's weird. Oh, here it's not letting me. Scroll down real quick. It's just bothering me. I should have paused the video. I apologize. There we go. Yeah, so anyway, going back I'll finish up. For sheet 2, I don't really care what K values you choose. You want them to be different by at least 150 to 200. So notice I'm choosing K1 to be 300. I'm gonna go back here. 300. I want K2 to be, I chose 470. Okay, here we go. Then take the applied force back down to 0. Oops. Okay, now notice 300, 470. Go back to the sheet. Now remember, in this one, we're going in increments of 5, but we're going from 0 to 45. But again, what you're going to have to do, now remember, if you keep all the cell references the same, don't change it, don't move anything. Notice here, the theoretical equation for K equivalent, cell H5. Go back here to sheet 1. H5. So what if I just do copy and paste? Look at that. And, so, you know, that's why I like Excel. Then go ahead. Again, now remember, just you're going 5, 10. So, I mean, you get the idea. I'm going to go up to 5. Oops. And I've got 0.006 meters. You know the drill. Go ahead and enter it in. Okay. And etc. Now go up to 10, and you get the idea. So let me go ahead and pause this video, and then I'll real briefly explain what you're doing with for the 2 springs in series.